Hello everyone, welcome to this Protection Insight podcast. If you saw my other podcast with Tony Ormond from Royal London, you'll remember that we completed a trust form, but we did skirt around the issue of the digital signature. It wasn't something that was particularly familiar to me, so I wanted to take a look and see how easy it was. Now, there are various platforms that allow you to capture digital signatures such as DocuSign, Adobe Sign. Others are available too, but I'm going to show you the process with DocuSign, as it's one of the biggest providers of digital signature capability, and it actually came up top of my Google search. So here's that same trust that we completed with Royal London. It's an editable PDF, so you can see that all the fields are complete. What I now need to do is send this to my client, or as they would call it, the donor, and ask them to complete the digital signature. Now, in this video, we need to look at this in two parts. That's the part that you do as the advisor, and then what the process looks like for your clients, so you can help guide them through and in the right direction. So if we start by loading up the trust form that we've just completed for our clients, you can see that the signature part, there isn't anything there to indicate any kind of digital signature. That's quite normal, and we will be able to add a marker onto the form when we actually set up the digital signature. You can see that I've already added the name of my client, the donor, that's John Smith, but we obviously need to pick up that digital signature, and this needs to be dated by the donor too, so I'm going to leave that blank as well. So what do we need to do now? Well, first of all, we need to save the trust form in a place that you can remember. I've called the file John Smith, Gift Trust Discretionary, the life company's Royal London. Now, I'm going to log into my DocuSign account with my username and password, and from here, you can see that it's asking me to drop a document to get started. So if I click on Get Started, I can either drop a file onto this page or I can upload one. I'm going to upload one, and I'll select the trust form from my desktop. That is the John Smith Gift Trust Discretionary Royal London. That's definitely the right form. Now, because this trust form is a PDF document and we know that there are various editable fields, it's telling us that it's found form fields within this PDF trust form. That's quite normal. So in this example, we're just going to be working on this PDF only. Now, the checkbox is for situations where you're the only signer, so that's not applicable because we actually need somebody else to sign the trust form. So let's hit next. And on this screen, we've got to add our recipient. Now, this is the name of the donor, that's our client, and then the email address for the donor. That's how they're going to receive this trust form, by email. So let's fill that in. That's name and email address, and then we'll hit next. You can now see that it's loaded up the trust form. This pop-up window is asking whether we'd like to assign to someone. That's what we're going to do. We can assign this trust form to our client so that they can edit it and they can complete it. There could be potentially some typos that they notice that I've made, so they should be in a position to edit their own trust form. If you look at this next option, Keep PDF Form Data, that locks it all down, so don't choose that. And the third option, to delete data, don't choose that. There's nothing to delete. So let's assign it to, and then we'll hit the drop down, and you can choose the only name that appears here, which is our client, the donor of the trust, and then hit confirm. All we need to do now is scroll down through the trust form and find that page with the signature that we need to pick up. And you can see two yellow boxes that say sign. Now just think about how many signatures that you need to pick up. Obviously, this trust form will accommodate two donor signatures, but there's only one donor in our case study. It's a single life policy. Now, with this particular trust form, we wouldn't really ever use this for a joint life policy anyway. But for more on that, just refer to the Writing a Life Policy into a Royal London Trust podcast that we did. So all we need to do is delete the sign box that we don't need. So click on it and then we'll press delete. So that's all we need to do. So just press next. Now this is where you can add your message. Now I'm going to say, hello John, please can you add your digital signature to this trust form as discussed. Please also enter the date you sign this trust form. Many thanks, Vincent. So now we're in a position to send this to our client, and we just do that by pressing the yellow send button. So from your point of view, that's everything that you need to do. What will now be quite useful is to see what happens from the client's point of view. So this here is the inbox of John Smith, our client. That's the donor who's writing a life policy into trust with Royal London. What you need to tell him is just to look out for an email in his inbox. And here it is. So if we open it, you can see this big blue box with a yellow button that says Review Document. And you can see who sent the document. That's you, the advisor. And then we've got your message there asking the client to add the digital signature, but also date the signature. So let's review the document. Now, once DocuSign opens, the recipient will need to tick the box to agree to use electronic records and signatures. So John needs to tick that box and then hit continue. At this moment, you'll receive an email to tell you that your recipient, your client, has opened the document. Now, you can see that a date stamp has been added to the document at the top of every single page. So your client just needs to press the start button, and when they do, it will take them all the way to the bottom of the document, because that's the only thing they need to do, sign the form. So to sign the document, they just press the yellow button that says sign. Now, it'll give the recipient an example of a digital signature, which they don't have to use. You can see they can upload their actual signature if they want to. But the easiest thing to do is just press adopt and sign. Now, I think one thing I could potentially forget to do at this stage is the date. So do stress to your client that obviously they need to sign it, but they also do need to date the form. So when they've done that, just press finish. Now, a screen does appear asking them to set up an account, which I'm going to say no thanks to, and that really is all the client had to do. So it might be worth rewinding this video and just see exactly what steps the client actually had to do. There wasn't many of them. Now, we're not quite finished because Royal London say there's something else we would need to do to send in and confirm that digital signature. So all you really need to do is log back into your DocuSign account once you've received the trust form back, and you can see here we've got one document which is marked as completed. Now, that's our trust form for John Smith. So let's click the checkbox and let's download it. Now, what we're looking for is the certificate of completion, because you'll need to send that in along with the trust form. So let's just look at this certificate of completion and download it. And of course, as I say, this needs to be sent in with your trust form. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are other processes out there that you can use for digital signature capability. I found DocuSign to be particularly straightforward and intuitive, but we're not precious about which one you happen to use. Some of the others could be even more straightforward. So thanks for watching. I do hope you found this video useful. Good luck and all the best.